Hey there everyone, my name is Samuel Johnson. If you don't know who I am, not that surprising. I am a very low-grade YouTuber who specializes in doing very unprofessional, very ill-prepared vlogs about television shows and franchises that I grew up with as a kid. The general process with these vlogs is that I sit down, watch an episode or entry into that show or franchise, and then once I'm done watching it, I sit down and record one of these vlogs for all you people out there to listen to. I've been doing it for a few years now, and I've covered a few various shows, from Ben 10 to Danny Phantom to Kolioka like I'm doing right now, and of course the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You see, in 2019, I did a series of vlogs that I called the MCU Perspectives, wherein every Friday I watched one of entry into the Marvel Cinematic Universe film series and then gave my thoughts in a video. The videos were generally very long because I like to talk about the plots of the movies before I give my thoughts on them. But overall, while the project was it took a lot more to do than your standard vlog, I had a lot of fun doing it, and overall it was just nice to revisit the MCU. So, what does that have to do with today? Ladies and gentlemen, Marvel's What If comics are hands down one of my favorite comic book series of all time. It's not my favorite comic book series, I'll openly admit, but on my top 10 list of comic book series, What If is definitely on that list. And why wouldn't it be? What If is a fantastic premise. The idea behind, if you don't know the comics, well, why are you watching this? But just on the off chance that you don't know the comics, the premise of What If is that every issue of the comic pretty much just asks the question, or it takes an event in the Marvel Universe and then asks the question, what if this series of events happened instead of what actually happened? And as a result, it's an anthology comic, and every issue just showcases what could happen if this other action had been taken. Like, for example, what if someone else got bitten by the spider instead of Peter Parker? What would they have done with the powers? Or, like, say, what if this certain character survived instead of that one? Or what if this certain hero got different superpowers? Or what if this hero what if the end of this storyline instead went in a different direction? How would the world evolve around that? Etc. 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 Essentially, the events of every story was just a brief. It was just showcased a small window into into an alternate Marvel universe, similar enough to the main universe, but with that one difference. And I effing love that. I'm a huge alternate universe buff. I love pondering on the what ifs and what happened on the what ifs and on alternate pathways that our lives could have taken if just something was different, if we made an opposite choice, or if something was missing from us, or hell, if just things were different. Honestly, those are my favorite kinds of alternate universe stories, where things are just different, where it's not one single thing that changed, it's a bunch of things, and they all just happen to be in this universe. Some things will coincide, some things won't. Like, hell, for example, did you know that in Spider-Gwen universe, that her being Gwen Stacy being the Spider-Person isn't the only major difference? There's a lot more, which I'm not going to get into because I'm kind of getting sidetracked. Bottom line, What If is amazing, and I effing love it. Like I said, it's not my favorite comic book series. It's not all the stories they produce honestly hit home for me. There are some blunders here and there, but of the stories they do make, they're so flippin' good. Like, this is my collection of all the various issues of single issues of What If that I own. And at the top we have this. What if the Fantastic Four got different superpowers? It's a really amazing story, and it actually does take advantage of showcasing how the Fantastic Four of that universe developed with different superpowers. Like in that world, Ben Grimm, instead of turning into a giant rock thing, gained dragon wings so he could fly. In that world, Sue Storm got the stretching powers. In that world, Johnny Storm became an android, while Reed Richards, he became a brain, and and he's the one with the tragic deformity now, because he's confined to the Baxter building, while the rest of his team has to go out doing the superheroing stuff. And so it shows how the team develops and how the plot lines develop because of these changes, and it's so bleeping interesting, and I just, I love it. I freaking love it. So, with my fangasming out of the way, What's that have to do with the MCU? Well, as many of you probably know, the Disney Plus has been releasing a series of MCU shows to the streaming platform. Now, I have heard many good things about each of these shows, and based on what I have seen of them, they look effing fantastic. There's a lot of cool stuff being done. Everybody involved seems to be having a great time, and it's clear that these shows are going to have a major impact on the MCU in the best way possible. And honestly, I'm glad for that. I really am, but I'm also not that interested. That's not to say the shows are bad. I'm not saying that at all. It's just I find it just a little annoying that in order to understand the main films, you have to have watched these shows. And while I will probably watch them if they ever become necessary for a movie, for me personally, I'm not interested. Again, that's not meaning they're bad. Again, from what I have seen, they look amazing. They look a bleeping amazing. So, I'm not going to denounce you if you like the shows. I'm not going to say, oh, you're betraying the franchise. No, God, no. If you love these shows, you're just as much of an MCU fan as I am, and nothing should take you away from that. It's just that I was not interested in these shows when they were announced, and I still am not. If I do watch them, it's because they're necessary for a movie, and that's it. I'll probably have a good time when I watch them, but I'm not going to watch them on my own volition without that prerequisite. That stands for every MCU Disney Plus show, save one. That one being, well, What If? The instant I saw that one of the shows was What If, I needed no further convincing. I said, I am fucking watching that show, and there is no force on this planet that will stop me. I'm not even kidding. The Wi-Fi went out of our house right now. I'm using my phone for Wi-Fi right now. I am going to watch this show. And the instant I realized I was going to watch the show, I realized I had to do a vlog on it. It's MCU related. It's tied into one of my favorite comic book series of all time. I want to do a vlog on it. And so that is exactly what I'm going to do. For every Wednesday, I'm going to sit down, watch an episode of Marvel's What If, and then I'm going to record a vlog much in the same fashion that I do my regular Friday vlogs. Now, I'm not going to be replacing the Friday vlogs with these. The Friday vlogs are still going to go on, and that's mostly because while I'm willing to delay my Friday vlogs by a week to possibly do a vlog for another series, like when I delayed the Lyoko retrospectives to talk about Black Widow, this is an entire season, and they release a new episode each week, so I can't really delay my regular vlog just for that. So this is going to be a side vlog, so to speak, something that I do on another day that I'm doing just for general funsies and just to kind of talk about. So, if you're interested in this, by all means, keep watching. If you're not, then I recommend just watching the show, because based on what the reactions I've heard, it sounds really interesting, and I can't wait to watch it. So, like I said, every Wednesday, I'm going to watch an episode of Marvel's What If, and then I'm going to record my thoughts on it in a regular vlog. Like I said, I'm going to be talking about the plots for every episode, so if you haven't watched any of the episodes before my videos, don't watch them until you have, because I'm going to be spoiling the plots rotten. I'm sorry, that's how these vlogs work. So, now that you've been properly warned, and now that you've been properly cautioned, if you are interested in any way, I hope that you may join me as we take a vast journey into the great infinitude of the multiverse in the MCU Perspectives What If Edition.